Hello, everybody. Jim Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. It is a Thursday, and we're going to get going on. There we go. We're going to get going on Instagram right here. So hopefully that will move in there. I think we're live too on Instagram. So we're live on TikTok, Instagram, of course YouTube, and Twitch, as well as I can't remember Periscope. I forgot all these things that we're live on. So hopefully, you can see us out there. And by the way, if you're interested in getting in the action trade alerts, this is our mailing list that we put out. We do we come out several things. So we had a really nice trade, really nice Google bull put spread that we put out last night. It's easy to get on the list. All you have to do is go actually email address. You just go to www.dallastradingfloor.com, and so we'll get on. Without further ado, let's get to some of these slides. Well, the market is recovered a little bit today, and that is indeed a good thing. So, it's looking like we're still looking pretty good on a lot of the things. I did make some buys this morning, and so that's kind of interesting. I was very lucky to get in on the AMD buy. We're up about 5% since it broke out. Tremendous earnings. Nasdaq is up. It's inching up towards that 15,000. That's a very key level at 14,789.63. So we're up about 0.18%. Not a lot, but we're definitely up, and that is a good thing indeed. Also, the Dow Jones is up, as well as the S&P 500. So we seem to be reversing a little bit higher. That indeed is kind of a good thing. So, hopefully we can.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I think we're on there now. Do we have? Jeez. Okay, I should be in the stream now. Okay. Oh, why is this so difficult? Okay, let's see if we can check the audio here. Yeah, okay. I should have audio, and okay, there we go. Okay, so hopefully now we have audio. All right, so we're moved up here above the buy points 58.98. So hopefully you can see me on TikTok. You can only see the graphs on YouTube and everything else, and on TikTok you should be able to see everything, but not the graphs, just my face. That's pretty much it. For some reason I'm having streaming issues here, and it just doesn't seem to be doesn't seem to be lining up. So let's see. Okay, thoughts of paper. Okay, great. So let's look at the next stock that's in the buy zone right now. It's Viva Systems, and this is a really interesting stock. I've traded this one before, and I really like it. I haven't had it in a while, but it's Viva Systems, symbol VEEV. So that's kind of one you want to possibly take a look at as well. Also, we want to take a look at some of the. Also want to take a look at Boston Scientific. This is still in the buy zone. I did buy it yesterday. Did quite well on it. So I want to kind of run down the stocks that I have currently in my portfolio, and just wanted to give you kind of a heads up on that. Of course, I'm in NVIDIA. It's up today about $1.12. I'm down on DocuSign, almost 1%, but I'm still in it. It's the key level of DocuSign is about 300. That's where I have my stop loss. So hopefully it won't violate that stop loss. On LBREDS, this has just been a tremendous performer for me. I'm up about 9% on this one in about a month. It's LBREDS. They're the former parent of Victoria's Secret. So very interesting stock there as well. Nike, I'm up. This has also been a great performer for me, up about 9% on as well. Lithium Motors, this is up strongly today, $5.71. So this one is doing quite well. A little bit down, not too much, about 24 cents on Dorchester Minerals. This, of course, is an oil and gas play. Not a lot of, not a lot. It's a relatively inexpensive stock at about 17.10 currently. So not one that's tremendously expensive. Robert Half, I've done very, very well on Robert Half. It's RHI. I've just held it for a few days. It seems to be doing really well. It's in the buy zone. PerkinElmer, it's up today. Nice, almost 3%. Excuse me. Boston Scientific, it's down a little bit. It's off a little bit, but I still really like this one. It's off about 7 cents, but still very strong, right in the buy zone. Of course, AMD, this is one that I bought this morning, are up over 5%, which is kind of incredible. As you can see, it's about 5% from the buy point. And I did buy this one. It was also in the buy zone. It's called ST Micro, and very, very good company. This one you might want to look at as well. So kind of interesting stuff, kind of all over the map there. Let's see if I can start the camera again. Yeah, well, I have the camera, but I'm frozen for some reason on that camera. So let's see if I can, well, I don't think I can. Let's see if I can remove the stream and then put it. There, okay. I guess I'm added to the stream, but I can't, for some reason. Yeah, for some reason it does not let me. There we go. Well, we're back to that. We'll just do it without the camera today. Sorry about this. I'm just continuously having technical difficulties here. So let's see if we can take the questions right now. Well, at least Chartman is working. He's about the only thing that's working right now. But at least that's working. So let's look at PayPal. Do you think it will head higher next week? Of course, PayPal, it really reversed on those earnings. It did well, but it this is the thing. This is one of the reasons why I think it's so important to always, if you're not up more than 10% coming into earnings, unfortunately, you really need to sell coming into earnings on this, because, it's just the kind of thing where I think sometimes, sometimes it's good to be, cautious rather than go all in with all blazing. As you can see, it took a serious dive down here. Let's put that. Let's see, show you that. So it seriously moved down. It did bounce at the 50-day line. This is the reason why I'm always talking about these lines here. This red line here, this is the 50-day line. Now below it, of course, is the 200-day line. Now I do think we're going to get a bounce at the 50-day line, but it's really off. It's selling off hard. The volume is up 180%. So unfortunately, hopefully you had your stop losses in. I had a stop loss right at 300. I got taken out at 300. But if you're down more than 7%, I would recommend kind of cutting your losses right now, and then you might be able to bounce and ride it back up. I do think we're going to see some support at the 50-day line. That's this red line here, but there's no that's not a guarantee, not a guarantee at all that we're going to see a bounce there. So that's something that we have to be kind of concerned with. We might see a bounce there, but if I was down more than 7%, I would really consider selling my position. I just think it's likely, if it doesn't get support at that critical line, that 50-day line, I think it's probably going to go lower. So we got to be a little bit careful. We'll be a little bit careful on that one, unfortunately. So that was kind of a surprise, but that's how it works. Hey, Matt, thank you very much for the question on Cleveland Cliffs. Now, ArcelorMittal, which is, of course, is owned. Actually, I think it's a Indian gentleman that lives in London that is the CEO of the company. But they did last year sell their operations to Cleveland Cliffs. The symbol is CLF. And of course, that is a steel company. Now, interestingly enough, this is a very good position, as we can see. It's right, and this was it's right at the buy point. The buy point for Cleveland Cliffs is 24.77 on a consolidated on a second stage consolidation, and this one right now is definitely showing a lot of strength. So this is probably actionable here. Actually, I kind of want to see how it closes. I want to make sure that it closes above 24.77. If it does, then we might sneak in tomorrow and be able to buy some. But this is looking very, very good. This is a very good chart here, and it's looking very, very good on the chart. So Cleveland Cliffs, definitely, definitely something that you could definitely move into tomorrow. Let's see if it closes. I kind of want to see it have support. And if it does, then I think Cleveland Cliffs might be very good. It's in a very good sector, and it's been doing quite well. So interesting stock. Let's look at Five9 now. Here's the thing about Five9, Matt. Five9 is going to be acquired. FIVN, of course, is the symbol on it. It is going to be acquired. So what we're seeing here is not really. This is going to be acquired. I think they had some good earnings. They're up about 10%, but the real reason for this one is it's going to be acquired by Zoom, symbol ZM. So this one you might want to. I don't think this one is essentially. I don't think this one is necessarily a buy because of course it is going to be acquired by Zoom. Symbol on that is ZM. So. This probably is not it's probably not a buy, but the chart looks good. The relative strength is moving up, and it did move above that 201.15 buy point. But this one is probably not a acquisition. You'd probably don't want to buy this one because it is in contract to be acquired by Zoom, symbol ZM. So that's probably not one you want to look at. Let's look at Lululemon. This is in a great sector. This is the apparel sector, retail apparel sector. It's been doing great. Unfortunately, it's a little bit extended, but Lululemon has definitely been providing some really good really good action here. There was a buy point on it, basically cup with handle stage 1. The buy point is 371 on this one. Currently, it's at 402, so it's a little bit extended above the correct buy point. and the buy range. Now, if you've been listening to me for a while, you'll hear me talk about buy points and buy range. And what am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about here is that typically a stock will move up sort of in steps. It's kind of like it's going up steps of stairs, and the buy point is sort of where it moves from a level of resistance. So if we push past a buy point, then typically it will settle at that buy point and up. So these buy points are very good places to buy. We typically want to buy a stock as it's moved through a buy point up about 5%. So in this case, the buy point on a Lululemon is 371, and the top of the buy zone, you could buy it really from that price up to about 390.29, and that is the buy zone. Now currently it's at 402, so you probably don't want to buy it at this level. It is extended. Also, the relative strength is a little bit concerning. That relative strength is only 62. We usually want to see a stronger relative strength than that. But in general, Lululemon is looking very good. It's got an 89 checklist. Only 100% is better. The only thing it's really lacking on is that relative strength line that we talked about. So here's my advice with Lululemon. I think that if you were to buy it, you could buy it at this level, but be forewarned, because if you buy extended, you're very likely to pull back down to that buy point. So I would be a little bit concerned about buying it here. Probably not the time to buy it. Now, as an alternative, what you could do is buy it off of the off of bounce off the 10-day line. Now, I don't know if you can see this on the chart, but currently it is about 3.5% above the 10-day line. If it pulls back closer to that 10-day line, it will probably bounce there. So here's my thought, Aziz, on Lululemon. I don't think you can buy it right now. I think it's a little bit too extended, and it's just it's one of those things. I'm a little bit more selective in this market, just because there are some things that are working, some things that aren't. I think we got to be really careful buying at some of these levels. So I want to buy at the proper buy points as much as I possibly can. Best way to learn day trading. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about day trading. I'm not a day trader. I am what they call a swing trader. And what I do basically is I buy stocks as they come into a buy zone, and then I hold them typically to see their run into earnings. And that typically is a little bit better. To be a good day trader, you have to play against the algorithms. And I think that is a very, very difficult thing. So instead of being a day trader, I would consider being a swing trader. Day trader basically buys in the morning, sells in the afternoon, or they don't hold any of their positions overnight. Well, I don't do that. I do hold my positions overnight, but that's an excellent question. And by the way, if you're interested in possibly learning more about the way I trade, it's super easy. Just go to www Dallas Trading Floor, and then you'll see there's a book in there. Just click on that. It's How to Make Money in Stocks, a Winning System, Good Times, or Bad, and that link will take you right there. So that is a good way to trade as well. So my thoughts on being a day trader: I'm not one, but I am very interested in trading, of course, and I use what they call a swing trading method. And again, a lot of that is put forth in the book, How to Make Money in Stocks, a Winning System, Good Times, or Times are Bad. And it's available at www.dallastradingfloor.com. All right, so let's look at, and this is a question from Polly. Thank you very much. Let's look at AMD. Now, I did buy AMD this morning as it broke out, and sometimes you get lucky like that. That's why I like to use these buy stop limit orders. It is just really done well. It's up. Wow, look at that. It's up to 103. Now, my buy, let's see, I bought a half position. I marked it here at 117. So I didn't quite get it at the correct buy point. The correct buy point, of course, was 95.44. I got it. Let me just kind of put it in there, kind of to show everybody where I was able to buy it. I bought it at that basic, at 107. There it is, 17. So this is where I was able to buy it. It kind of puts it right there. So I was at the very top of the buy zone. So I almost missed the train. I mean, it was pulling out through the station this morning. I bought it right at the top of the buy zone, but I still was in the buy zone. And the buy zone, of course, is the buy point. the 95.44 up 5%. That's your best place to buy it. If you were to buy it right now, it would be a little bit risky because it may pull back. It's what they call extended right now. But currently, it's selling for 103.01, which is it's up about $5 since the morning. But what's really interesting is the amount of volume that has happened with AMD. Now, would I buy AMD at this level? No, I probably wouldn't because it's extended. So I would wait to see if it comes back down into the buy zone. If it comes back down to about 100, then I think that would be an awesome place to buy it. But AMD is just really doing great things. All right, another great stock, and this is CrowdStrike, CRWD. And I don't have any CrowdStrike. I wish I did. I wish I did have CrowdStrike. But the difference between AMD and CrowdStrike is right now you can buy CrowdStrike. Absolutely, you can buy CrowdStrike, no problem, because it's pulled back. Now, I think that it's right in the buy zone right now. The buy point on CrowdStrike is 251.28. So it is in the zone to buy. Now, would I buy it today? No, because I don't like to buy it as it's pulling back. But sometimes, oh, wait a minute, I am seeing buying opportunity. Oh, yeah, okay, great. I'm just looking at the Discord room. By the way, if you're interested out there and you're taking a look, you might want to look at the Discord room because it is a pay service. But what's great about it is I try to share with everybody, and everybody else shares in the room, kind of where they're buying, what they're buying, kind of everything that's going on. And some people have made a lot of money in there. And I think it's a good deal, easy to do that. All you have to do is go to www.dallastradingfloor.com, and it's the second item down. Also, if you want the free action trade alerts, that's super easy. Just go to put in the first name, last name, and a email address where we can send you the stuff. So that's just my little pitch there for the Discord room. All right, great. Let's take a. Oh, hey, thank you, Mary. Thoughts on ORCF? Cooper Libre. It's a lithium mining company. This sounds like a penny stock. Now, if you know me, you probably know that I am not a huge fan of penny stocks, but the mining sector has been doing great. So let me see if I can find something in the mining sector that might work here. So what I'm going to do, and the thing about mining stocks is that they typically, they can be very frothy. They can be very up or very down. Now let's what I'm doing is I'm pulling up the groups here, and I'm going to go to the mining area, and that's down here, mining. Okay, let's pull that up. LM mining. Media. Gosh, you got everything else. Mining. Oh, there we go. Mining. That's the gold and silver. Mining metal ores. Let's look at the mining metal ores, because this is because really, a lithium stock would be actually a mining stock. So here's the thing. This is the overall chart for the group mining and metal ores. Let's see kind of what are the leading shares in here. We do have some top stocks in here, and right now the top stock right now, there's really two areas. Vale, VALE. This is a Brazilian miner, and it mines copper. This is the top stock in the area, and then also BHP. This is the very large mining concern in Australia, a very big company. So let's take a look at Vale to see if that's even in the range of buyable, and I think it is. I think it's right below the buy point, interestingly enough. So that one is, I wouldn't recommend this ORCF because of that, Mary. It is a lithium. It is a thin stock, and I think you've got to be very careful when you're buying stocks under $10. I typically don't like to do this because there's a requirement typically that every stock that's bought by a fund mutual fund is over $10. So be very, very careful when you're buying stocks like that. I would not recommend it just because of the volatility. I'm not no value judgment, but just because of the volatility. So I think you got to be a little bit careful if you want to be in the mining group. And this is a good group. It's a 64 out of 197 in terms of the sectors of the stock market. It's currently right below a buy point. The buy point is 2253, and currently it is at 2287. So it's right in the buy zone. Valet is the name of the company on that. So that's kind of what I would look at in terms of that. Here's another one, Wish. Now I was out of Wish. There was a lot of activity in the options, and I did put my toe in the water, but the shark bit it off, so I got out of the water on that one pretty quick. This is Context Logic. It is right below $10, so I just really wouldn't buy this one right now. Wish, just, I wish it were better. I wish it were better, but right now it's in a downward trend. It's below the trend line. That's this little reversal line here. So right now, I wouldn't buy this. Now, when you're looking at charts, let me just, this is chart reading 101. This is the easiest thing to do when you're looking at charts, is take a look and see, how is that crow flying? Well, currently the crow is flying from Seattle to Miami, so that's not good. It's going from high to low. We don't want that. We don't want a chart that's moving lower. We want a chart that's moving from Los Angeles to New York. That's what we want, because that means it's flying up. So it's going from low to high. We don't want to buy stocks that go from high to low. We want them low to high. So right now, Wish, I just couldn't recommend it. The chart is just not looking very good on this. And unfortunately, I don't think it's a buy. So there you go. All right, let's take a look from, what is the buy range for Visa? That's interesting. This is coming from TikTok. And by the way, if you want to see the charts that I'm looking at and you're looking on TikTok, super easy to do. Just jump on over to my profile, click the link, and then scroll the way down, and you'll see the YouTube feed, and it is live. All right, now let's take a look at Visa. Visa is currently in a buy zone, and it is absolutely buyable at this price. The earnings were decent, up 41%. So this, you could possibly enter a position in Visa right now. This sector is doing fairly well. So, right now, Visa might be a very good buy. It's right now it's 46 out of 197 in terms of the sectors of the market, and this sector is getting love from the funds. Now, here's one thing I'd like to point out about Visa. Visa has a very strong checklist. It's 78 out of 100. So the only two things it's not performing at the very top level on is this earnings per share its earnings per share rating is not in the top 20%, and the relative strength is not in the top 20%. But other than that, it's looking very good. Many of the large funds are acquiring this, are acquiring Visa right now. It's kind of a safety play, relatively slower in terms of the movement on it, but right now you can absolutely buy Visa. It's in a buy zone, and the earnings were very good. It came through earnings very, very well. So for about the next 90 days, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape with Visa. By the way, the sales were up 27% and the profits were up 41%. So people really like their Visa cards. I know I do, especially when somebody else is paying off the balance for it. But anyways, there you go. Thoughts on Microsoft and Apple. Apple announced lots of share buybacks. The thing about Apple is that, it's such a valuable stock that part of the reason why Apple is doing this is because, it's getting harder and harder for Apple to come out with better and better. It's getting harder and harder for Apple to come out with more and more profits. I mean, it's very, very hard to create a product as good as the iPhone. It just really is. So you know, they've kind of gone to share buyback. So let's take a look at the chart on that to kind of see. Well, here's the thing. I did sell my position right before earnings in Apple. Now, now I sold it about let's see, where did I sell it? I sold it at 146. Yeah, 148.60 is where I sold it. I note on the chart where I sold it, and then it's pulled back a little bit. Let's go to the daily chart to see. Yeah, see it. This is what I always like to do. I like to buy I like to sell right before the earnings, then wait to see what happens. And it went down a little bit, $3, not a lot, but it looks like it's coming back. A lot of share buybacks, obviously, and then I may be, you know, if it looks good, I may be buying back in. But this is what I recommend people do. If you're not up 10% in your position going into earnings, good idea to sell it, see what happens with earnings, and then come back in. So, you know, would I buy Apple at this point? Well, it's still very, very good. I love Apple. And right now we are in essentially a buy zone. So let me see if I can get that exact. Yeah, the buy zone, really, the pivot on this is 145.09. We're at 145.42. So we're right in the buy zone. So if we wanted to get back into the position, this is a very good place to start building a position once again with Apple. So the way I traded Apple, and I do recommend this because this can save you a lot of grief, is if you're coming into earnings, sell before earnings if you're not up 10% or more, and then wait to see what happens and then buy back. So I may be buying Apple. I may be buying Apple tomorrow because of this. I may be buying Apple tomorrow because of this, because it is in the buy zone right now. But I was able to sell at about 148, buy back at about 145. But it's very good stock, and you know, the reason that they're doing buybacks really is it's just that it's so difficult for them to continue just knocking it out of the park like with the iPhone. So that's until the new products come online. I mean, I think the iPhone 12 is done fairly well, but I don't think it's as stellar as some of the other releases. But it's still it's Apple. It's still really good. So I'm not denigrating it at all. The reason they're going with the buybacks, I think, is just because they want to get their share price up based on how profitable. And also, Apple is sitting on a mountain of cash right now. It's one of the most valuable companies in terms of, if you look at their balance sheet, they have a ton of marketable securities and all kinds of stuff on their balance sheet. So Apple, no surprise that Apple would be buying back their stock. Now with Microsoft, Microsoft is essentially it's come through earnings. I did the same thing with Microsoft. I did sell going into earnings, and I think, yeah, there we go. Sold position at 270.78. It's currently, now see, I didn't come back in because we were extended here. I haven't come back into Microsoft, but I did sell my position right before earnings, and it did move up on earnings. So sometimes you don't always get it right, but it's a good idea to do this, because if you're not up 10%, it's a good idea to take profits into earnings and then see what happens. I'm going to wait for a better entry point right now. Right now it's a little bit extended, so if I were to buy here, it would be a little bit more risky. So very interesting. Thanks very much for that, Christian. Appreciate it with all that info. So that's very, very good. All right, let's look at Tesla. Now here's the thing about Tesla. I'm still not convinced with Tesla, even though it has been moving up. I really want to see it, move convincingly above about 680. I really do. And I have the reversal line drawn here, and it's above that reversal line. So I'm getting ready, but I'm still not totally convinced on Tesla. Now, if you notice, it came up right to that reversal line. It moved through it, nice volume, 677, but after hours, not so much. So we kind of like to see how it was trading into its earnings. This is the 5-minute chart that I'm showing you right now. And indeed, it had moved up very nicely, but there seems to be some resistance, and that resistance seems to be right about here at about 680. So I want to see a close above this 680 before I'm possibly looking at building another position. And if we go back here a little bit, we can see this we'll go back to the 60-minute chart. You can see that, 680, 690, there seems to be some resistance here. I really want to see this go through this and get rid of some what they call the overhead supply on this on this issue. This is my best stock of last year. I still really like it, but I want to see it move higher before I'm going to be moving back into it, just because of the way it's trading. So there's also another question on Tesla. Great. Thank you. I haven't seen you comment in a long time. Thank you for everybody commenting. I so appreciate it. Let's see now. Okay. Bought Bntx on 721. I'm up 23%. Right on. That is a very good, Nick. Thank you for that. Let's look at that. That is great. Bntx. Now, here's my rule of thumb when it comes to when it comes to profits. You ought to start considering taking some profits once you're in the profit zone. And basically for Bntx, you're basically in the profit zone. So you came in, let's see, on the 21st, so July 21. Okay, wow, you came in right, beautiful. This was a beautiful move. You bought it right in the buy zone, as I can see. You bought it right after the pivot, the 253.78 pivot. So you bought in right there. Boy, that's a really good. That's a really good buy. That's an excellent buy point. You bought right, and then it moved right up, and now it's starting to. It's up in that profit zone. I would recommend, at the very minimum, selling half of it, taking your profits, and maybe even selling all of it, because when it gets to about 20 to 23%, stocks need to rest. They need a little bit of time off. Sometimes they'll move up higher than that, but the odds are not in your favor. So if you've gotten 20% increase off of a proper buy zone, which you did, then I think you ought to start taking profits. But congratulations. That's an excellent trade. Thanks for sharing. Really appreciate it. All right. Let's take, thanks, room to keep on going. NXPI. This is other stuff that I'm not as familiar with. NXPI. Oops. And let's take a look there. Oh, okay. NXP Semiconductor. Yes, I am familiar with this company. Good company. It's still below the buy zone, but it's looking good. Now, I want to show you a stock that I bought today, right after this one, after we analyze this chart. This is a good chart. We do have a situation where there is a reversal. Let's put there's a double bottom pattern, and then it let's put the temporary line in. There was a double bottom pattern, and then it basically came out, and we have this. But this is the reversal line. Here's the thing about this line, this NXP. I think that I probably would not buy it unless it moves higher than this line here, because this is a reversal line. But it's still in a good area. It's still looking good. It's in what they call a consolidation. The buy point on it is 214.60. Currently, it's at 204. So we're right below that. You could make an early buy here. Now, if I were to buy at this level, I would not buy anything more than about a half position, possibly a quarter position here. The reason is because it's not as strong, because it has not moved above the buy point. But this is a good stock. I also want to show you a stock that I bought today, and this was right in the buy zone. It's called ST Micro, STM. And the advantage of this stock is that this is a European company, and they make semiconductors for the automotive industry, which are, as you know, are in very short supply right now. So this stock is very good. Now, it hasn't done all that much after it moved up, but I did buy it on the breakout at 41.62. Currently, after hours, is trading at 41.50. It was right in the buy zone. We'll see if it can hold above that critical buy point, 40.59. Now, my stop loss is set at 40.50, just below that buy point. So we'll see what happens. There are some concerns that I have here. Their earnings per share were tremendous. They were up 340%, but the relative strength is a little bit weak. And I typically like to see even a stronger checklist than this. This is a good checklist, though. 89% The only thing it really fails on is that relative strength. And I do think that with these good earnings, it's likely to move higher. This symbol on this one is STM, ST Micro. This is one you might want to look at. If you're looking at NXP Semi, you might want to look at this one as well, because this one has a very, very nice chart, and it has moved right above the buy point and did gap up today, and I did buy it on the gap up in the buy zone. The sales were up 43% quarter over last year, excuse me, and the profits were up, and that's the key, 340%. So they definitely have pricing power in the semiconductor area, and that can be very, very good, especially because automotive semiconductors right now are in short supply, and so many of the companies that make them have had some very, very good quarters because they have pricing power. So ST Micro, it's a Swiss company, but it operates worldwide. STM is the symbol on that one. All right, so I have no sound. So let me check my sound again. I hate to tell you this because I hate it when I don't have any sound. Nope, I seem to have some sound now. I guess, okay, that was no sound before. I can't hear you. Sorry about this. Thoughts on Zim? It bounced exactly lower of the Bollinger Band based on the 50-day, as I predicted a few days ago. So let's look at Zim, and Zim is relatively, it's an old company, but it's old. What is old is new again, because originally this was the Israeli National Bulk Shipping Company, believe it or not. And they did IPO, but it is done very, very well. So it does look like there was a bounce. You are absolutely right. The bounce would have been right there. And let's take a look at the line. Okay, so it bounced right at about 34.33. It's currently at 39. The question is, has it reversed? Well, I don't know, but I tell you, I would wait to pile in until it gets to the 50-day line. That would be my guess. That would be where I would probably. I don't typically trade off of Bollinger Bands, but they're extremely reliable. That's a good way to go. I use index lines, but 42.24 is probably where I would be moving into it. But just to show you, this was the bounce here, and then this is the 50-day line. So what I want to see before I'm probably going to get back into Zim, I've had it before, is I want to see it move convincingly above that 50-day line. But the relative strength is excellent at 98, so that's looking good. The checklist isn't quite as strong as it was before, 6 out of 9, but that's pretty good, 67%. It does have some issues. It's a little bit, it's more than 15% off if it's all-time high. I typically like to buy them within 15% of the all-time high. Also, it is not being accumulated by the big funds as much as I'd like to see it. It has a D rating in there, and it's not being accumulated as much by them. But and also the earnings per share is a little bit weak. But overall, it's a good stock, and it's a good place to go. But I would wait until it moves above that 50-day line. So that's kind of how I would do. No sound on the face cam. Okay, so why is that true? Hopefully. Okay. Hopefully that's from before. I'm just checking my sound again. It seems like I have. Yeah. Well, okay. So that should be working. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that should be working. So you should be getting a sound feed here. Let's see if I can. Oh yeah. Well, I could put on the. Yeah, I can put on that, but it doesn't. Yeah. Anyways. So no sound on face cam. So hopefully we have some sound. No sound. Geez. Oh goodness. Okay. Let me check here 1 second. Blaze, do I have sound? Can you check? Sounded good. Okay, great. I got some comments that I had said. I just checked with my intern to see if I had sound. So looks good there. Let's look at SKGC. Interesting. I don't know this stock. SKGC. Take a look. No, I don't. Oh, KGC. Excuse me. Yeah, KGC. All right, that's why I had to it. Okay, this is Kidroth's Gold. This is essentially a gold miner. You know, it's funny. The gold miners have not been doing as well as you would think. You know, with all this talk of inflation, you would think that these guys would be doing better. It did pop up a little bit today, but the relative strength is only 10. So I don't know what's going on in this sector, but the gold mining sector just doesn't seem to be producing the winners like you would think it would. You know, Kinross Gold, that seems fairly good, but let's look at some of the competition there. Now, typically in this area, one of my favorites, of course, is um, is is um, Franklin, Nevada. Let's check in with that one and see what the chart looks like there. The reason I like Franklin, Nevada better than a lot of the other mining companies, yeah, and this is the one that I think you want here. This is the one I think that you is better than Kinross Gold. This is the one you want. It's called Franklin, Nevada. The reason I like Franklin, Nevada is not a miner. What they do is they own rights in other mines that are successful. And this one is definitely, if you want to be in the gold area, this one is the one you want to put on your watch list. Its symbol is FNV, Franklin, Nevada Gold. And it's in a buy zone right now. It's right at the buy point. Well, the buy point is 155.89. It's currently at 159.73. It's up tremendously, 64%, up about 4% today. This is the one you want. Now, it is a little, there is a word of caution here. We're 13 days in front of earnings. So here's what I would do if I wanted to be if I wanted exposure to the gold area. I would go with Franklin, Nevada, FNV, and then I would hold it, but I would check at the end of 2 weeks, right before earnings, to see if I was up 10% or more. Now, if I was up 10% or more, I would hold it. If not, I would sell it. But this is the way to get good exposure in the gold space. Probably, KGC, that I think that's good. I think that's good, but this one is probably a little bit stronger than and the golds are getting better. So absolutely. But in terms of a purely technical basis, Franklin, Nevada, FNV is probably the one you want on that. So, but I appreciate the question. I really do. All right, we did cover Tesla. So, Carl, let's go to FUTU, 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 and take a look at that one real quick. Not a particularly stellar chart here. We do have some fall off. It is down to the 200-day moving average. Here's something that I always recommend, and that is you really don't want to buy anything that has fallen below that 200-day moving average. And the reason you don't is because when it falls below that 200-day average, that's when you're going to get into trouble, because if it doesn't get support at that 200-day level, it many times will go much lower. So right now, the funds are starting to moving out of here. So FUTU, I want to see it do a little better. Also, another thing is you've got to be extremely careful right now with some of the Chinese companies. They're under attack by their own government. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you've seen DD and some of the other ones. They're having a lot of troubles. Another thing that you have to be very, very careful regarding the Chinese company is that you cannot rely on their accounting data, because many of the time it's somewhat suspect. And there was a situation last year when I started broadcasting Luckin Coffee, and believe me, even some of the big, I never owned it, but there were some very, very shrewd investors that did, and they were supposedly the Chinese Starbucks, and they went through the records, and sure enough, it was all fraudulent, and they said that they had 5,000 stores and they didn't have 300. So with the Chinese companies, I'm not saying they're all bad, but I'm just saying you got to be careful. FUTU right now is not a buy. It is down at the 50-day average. So I think you got to be super careful with that. Now, Tesla is a different story. It is pulled above. I want to see Tesla move above about 680 before I'm going to be back in. But that's a different story than FUTU. Yep, I heard you. Not anymore though. Okay. I'm still having problems. Okay. Where did you go? I don't see your webcam. I'm having trouble with my webcam today. I'll be honest with you. I am having trouble with my webcam. So that is the reason why you are not seeing it. So let me see if I can free up some bandwidth here. Maybe it's a bandwidth issue. I don't know. But let me see if I can free up some bandwidth here. What I'm going to do, unfortunately, everybody, there we go. I'm just going to momentarily shut down the Discord, my Discord situation. There we go. All right. Well, does it let me? Okay. Gosh. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of. Yeah. There we go. So I'm gonna, for right now. There we go. Okay. And everything else looks good. All right. So I'm gonna get rid of that too. All right. All right. So now hopefully I've freed up some bandwidth here, and I can get back to the show. All right. Let's see. Okay. Come on. Not letting me move to the right thing here. There we go. Okay. So we should be back. Let's see if the camera will come up now that I have freed up some bandwidth. No, it's still frozen. Gosh, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I need a new webcam. All right, Gene, thank you very much. Let's take a look at AVNW and see if we've got anything there. Now, hopefully this will let me get AVNW, and take a look. Avant Networks. Okay, not an issue that I'm familiar with. I'll be honest with you. Very nice reversal here, though. I'm looking at this chart. It reversed above that 50-day line, so that's looking good. The relative strength is good too. This is not a bad, this isn't an actual buy point, but it looks as if it's improving in strength. So here's the thing on this. Would I buy it at this level? Well, you could possibly make an early buy basically at about 49, it looks like. I kind of want to see it move a little bit higher, but it's moved above that 50-day moving average. So that indeed is looking very, very good. It's looking good that it's moved above that 50-day moving average. Here's the thing. Let's take a look at the checklist. It's got a decent checklist at 67, but it's not 100%. So here's the thing. I would be a little bit careful with this one. I want to see if it can maintain its, I want to see if it can stick over about 34. If it can, then if it can hold this level, then I think you could start moving into it. Absolutely. But right now, it is not at a buy point, and it is, we want to see if it gets support at the 50-day line, but the trend is right. So this is not a bad one. Here's the thing. I probably would not be a buyer of a large position. I might have a starter position here, maybe a quarter position, but I wouldn't be anything larger than that. That's probably where I would be. Dallas can't get good internet. We supposedly this building has good internet, but I'm really questionable. You would think with AT&T being here, it seems to be a trouble. I don't know what it is, but you're right. I wish Nick it were better than it is. I really would. All right, thoughts on AMKR? Let's look at AMKR. Let's look at it. Amcor Technology. And this, of course, is, interesting, gate array packages. Gate arrays, if you're, it sounds like I'm saying Gatorade, but I'm saying gate array. Actually, gate arrays are really, really interesting. They are programmable logic semiconductor. So instead of the logic being hardwired into the chip, you can actually flash program these into various special purpose chips. So it's a very, very interesting technology. It's been around for quite a while, but it's a very specialized thing. It allows you to basically not only update the BIOS on chips, but it also lets you actually update the functionality. So it's pretty cool technology all the way around. Here's the thing. We are right in a buy zone with this one. This Amcor Technology is part of the list. This is definitely one, Aziz, that I think that you can absolutely buy this one. I like this area a lot. The earnings are excellent. We've come through earnings. We're right in the buy zone, and everything is looking pretty darn good here. 38% of the ownership of this company are funds. So that's pretty good. And you've got 91% relative strength. This is kind of making all, this is sort of checking all the boxes here. This one, AMKR, it's sort of checking all the boxes. You can buy it right now. It's basically 100%. There's very few that are 100%. This is 100%. And right now, there's only one little blemish, and this really isn't a blemish. This is the electronic semiconductor manufacturing area is a little bit low. It's 135 out of 197. But other than that, this is stellar. This is a very, very good chart. This is a good company. This is a good area. I would say go for this one. I would actually even consider buying a full position in this one because the chart is so good. So tremendous opportunity here. Thank you for putting it out there for everyone. Amcor Technology, AMKOR. AMKR is the symbol, and it is a very, very good chart, Aziz. Really, really appreciate it. All right, any thoughts on Junko Solar? You know what? I haven't looked at this one in a long time. It says the 50-day moving average crossed the 200-day. Okay, well that's and the 200-day is now moving above it. Okay, Junko Solar. I can't remember what the symbol for that one is. JNKO. JNKO, is that it? Let me just check and look. No, I don't remember. I remember this one. Let's look at the solar group. That's a good question. That's a very good question. I haven't done anything in the solar group in a long time. It was a very, very good performer last year, but other than that, it hasn't been as strong. So let me take a look at that group, and that is the solar group. It's the energy solar. Okay, let's see. A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D. Okay, energy solar. There we go. There's the group. All right, and this is the overall group. This is the energy solar group. Now I'm going to take a look to see if I can locate that one in the group. So I'm going to look at all the stocks there, and let's see. Yeah, Jinko Solar, JKS is the symbol on that one. So let's take a look at that chart to kind of see, what's going on. So here's the thing. You're right. It did retake the 200-day line. Now let me do a little bit of chart reading here. I don't get a lot into this, but when the 50-day moving average moves below the 200-day moving average, this is called the death cross. This means that this stock is selling off. But you'll notice it came down, it then kind of regained, it kind of gathered itself, came through earnings. The earnings were down. See, interestingly enough, this crossing of the 200-day, this predicted this fall off in earnings. Once we hit those earnings, that was sort of the bad news bears right there, and then we started moving up. We moved above that 200-day line, but still the 50-day line is still below the 200-day. So right now it's not a buy. We want to see this 50-day move above the 200, then we can start looking at it. Now, if you'll notice, the relative strength is pointing up, so that's very good. 87, but it still doesn't have a good enough checklist. Only 55, so it's failing on a number of very key issues. One of the issues is the earnings per share is down. All right, it's not in the top 20%, it's in the bottom 80%. So we don't really like that. Also, the earnings per share were decelerating last quarter, so that's not good either. Also, the sales were decelerating, and it's 15% off of its all-time high. Now the question is there a place that we can get back in? I'm looking at this and I'm seeing some decelerating earnings here. The change in the number of sales is going basically from 38%, then 23%, then 6%, then 1%. So the trend is not good here. The trend in terms of sales, we have declining sales acceleration. That's not necessarily what we want. We also have a declining profits. So here's the thing about this one. I'd be very careful with this stock right now, just because it is sort of in a situation that it's declining. It's not declining sales, it's declining sales acceleration. So it's not the very, very best in terms of the sector. It's part of the problem is The solar sector just hasn't been doing as well. Nick, Apple is setting up. I hold 60 shares right now at 105. What do you think about picking up 40 more? I think you might be good with that. Let's look at Apple, and this is not necessarily a bad place to add with Apple. I mean, especially if you have if you're in it at 105, then you're looking very, very good there. It's right above the buy zone. Now, normally, if you were starting a new position here, I wouldn't be a buyer at this level. But because you have shares, because you already have shares, your average cost will be right correct. So if you are in at 105, then I definitely think you could add here. I think it's a great place to add. Remember, it's not necessarily the price that you bought it at. It's your average price that you bought it at. So I definitely think, Nick, you could absolutely move into some more shares here. Absolutely. I think it's a good place to do that. All right. Bitcoin. I'm not going to cover really that much Bitcoin. Amazon, buy the dip. Well, let's look at the Amazon. I do have a spread on Amazon right now, and I'm hoping it'll do well. We will see. I don't know exactly. We had a little bit of a sell-off. Yeah, we had a lot of a sell-off. Wow, look at that. We are down 6%. Woo. That is significant. So we definitely are having here's the thing with what's going to happen. I do think this is going to bounce. I think this thing is going to do the bounce, but it's basically pulled all the way back to that line. So yeah, we had a very, very strong sell-off in the after hours. I probably should have closed my position, my spread. So I'm going to probably wait. I have a spread on this one, and I think that looking at that, I mean, we are off tremendously. So I would probably wait on this one to see how it comes through this. I do think we'll probably see a bounce, but this is a massive sell-off. So this may be an opportunity to buy the dip. This really might be an opportunity tomorrow morning. I'm going to have to check one of my spreads. I think it's kind of going to be hurting here. So I may have to close it or adjust it. I may have to adjust the spread. But anyways, looking at this, we definitely had an earnings miss here on Apple, and it does look like a buy the dip situation. So yes, absolutely. Now, normally you would want to buy it, you would want to buy it. It has support right about 3,500, but with this sell-off, I mean, it's down to 3,372. But remember, this is the after hours, so there are a lot of people that are dumping positions right now. We will see what happens, but definitely a pullback and a strong one at that. So hopefully we won't go all the way down to the 50-day line. I think that's probably where we're seeing support. Yeah, let me see that. No, I'm not even at the 50-day. Wow, that's amazing. It's below the 50-day. So I almost can guarantee you that by morning, if you're able to buy at these levels, it will move at least to the 50-day line, which is about 34.53. So yeah, it's definitely a sell-off. It could be a good opportunity to pick up some shares, and I definitely think this would be a buy the dip situation because it is a quality company. Well, Ricky, unfortunately, Amazon has absolutely, it's being sold off right now. I do think that there is going to be an opportunity though to buy it on the dip. Now, I didn't have shares; I only had a spread, but of course, the spread will be impacted by this too. Of course, spreads are limited. This is one of the reasons I like to do spreads because the risk is limited. But but I may have to do an adjustment on this one as well. So that was kind of that was kind of a bad deal. That was kind of a bad deal. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Would you buy this, Brian? Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it. Would you buy this dip? You know what? I probably would. Because I do think I still think Amazon is a tremendous company. It's truly an aristocrat in terms of not a dividend aristocrat, but an aristocrat in terms of companies. So I definitely would consider buying the dip on this one. And there's going to be an opportunity tomorrow morning. I'm going to take a look at this tonight. Kind of crunch some numbers and see where I'm at. So I guess I'm a little bit over time. I've been thinking about exploring options trading. Any tips? Yeah, absolutely, Aziz. I do a lot of option stuff. You might want to join the Discord room because we do put out a lot of interesting option trades there, mostly spreads, but we'll also butterflies, iron condors, and that kind of thing. And so that's available, and it's super easy. Just go to, just go to, just go to www Dallas Trading Floor, and it's a second button. There, the first button is to get on the free action trade alerts, but the button below that is the Discord room, and that goes basically all the time. So that can be a great way to just if you're wading into options trading. We do quite a few options on that. All right, I think this is one last question. PRIM. Let's take a look at that. PRIM, and take a look. Primo services, interesting. Managed services for power plants, interesting. Well, this is an interesting chart. I can't say really much about it. I don't know much about the industry. It's in the heavy construction building area, which it's an okay sector, but not necessarily in the top 20%, but it's definitely in the top half. It's earnings in 5 days. You know what? I wouldn't buy it here because we have a downward trend. I just wouldn't. And I would absolutely wait for earnings. I would not buy this prior to earnings. That said, we could probably put a reversal line on it right there, and if it moves above that, then it would move from a downtrend to an uptrend. But right now, I think you got to be super duper careful regarding this. So, so with that said, everybody, thank you so much for taking the time to look at my show. And hopefully I'm going to get a camera that works. I've got to get a better camera than this. This is ridiculous. I keep losing it all the time. So it's probably the camera. I probably need to get a new one, and hopefully I'll be getting that soon. But till then, if you're not on the action trade alerts, super easy to do. Just go to www.dallastradingfloor.com, and then first and last name and an email address, and you'll be right on that. And we did send out a really nice spread trade on Google. And it's up today because it came through earnings. We did the bear put spread, bull put spread on it, and it's looking pretty good. So if you're interested in options trading, we do more. Obviously, don't just do options trading. We released a ready list this morning in the just exclusively for the people in the Discord room, and it had all of the stocks that were in the buy zone. So that can be super helpful when you're deciding what to buy and when to buy it. So until tomorrow at 2:30, that'll be Friday. Hope everyone is doing well, and I'll be back at hopefully at about 2:30 Central Daylight Time. Sometimes I'm a little bit late, running around doing things, but hopefully I'll be back right about that time. Happy trading, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow.